Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Aurogiri. Today I'd like to make a top 5 video of things I would like to see changed in Onigiri going into 2022 in the future post our JP North American merge of PS4 Onigiri. Honorable mention, 10 OC restores that are coming from this merger are like what we've wanted for years upon years. All the other consoles had it. We'd love to get it. Having them just makes a lot of things more accessible and totals out to a net saving of 66% OC when it comes to energy restoring for things like Purgatoriums and wardings in general. It's very healthy for the metagame, and I'm really glad that Cyberstep is finally giving that to us. Number 5. I would like to see Purgatorium Junk be exchangeable or returnable back into Purgatorium treasures. This, I don't know why this was implemented, maybe to give some feeling of players have to use it or lose it, but it's more, in my opinion, it's been more disincentivizing for players to do Purgatorium than it has been incentivizing, because a lot of players who are busy working or just don't have that much time to play can't really pursue this stuff, and if they do, they always have the fear of their treasures turning into junk. What I'd like to see would be a metric of being able to go over to the Blue Oni, Mr. Nairi over here, opening up his exchange, going inside and just seeing a tab in here for metals. You click on it like any other exchange shop and it says, hey, I'm selling Purgatorium treasures. You have to give me junk. Now, the best case scenario would be a 1-to-1 ratio, so 1 junk for 1 treasure. That eliminates the whole, the entire problem is gone. People can just farm at their leisure. That'd be great. But personally, I don't think that would be Cyberstep's best move. It could be, but if they make the exchange rate a little different, maybe 2 junk per 1 treasure, I think that would be fine as well, because then people could just play all the time, do all the Purgatoriums, never have to worry, and if an Ogi comes out or what have you, something they're interested in, they can just take their junk that's sitting in their pile, take 2,000 of it and turn it into 1,000 to get an Ogi right away and move on with their life. I think that would be a really healthy change going forward, and just encourage everyone to play with each other. And it would just be really, really nice and just help a lot of players out who have missed deadlines. Like, we've had events where we had Abyss Purgatorium where it was supposed to be a month. It was only 2 weeks. A lot of people got screwed out of that, and it sours a lot of our experiences. Number 4. I would like to see a change to titles and ornamentations. So going forward with this merger, titles have a limit. So the most concerning title revolves around the Twin Sword players with Miyamoto Musashi. The Miyamoto Musashi title is the most coveted and pretty much only usable title for Twin Sword players, as it grants Twin Sword affinity 60% and then power and wisdom. Every other Twin Sword title only gives you like 10% or 20%. It's very negligible. It's not even worth noting. The big problem here is that you can only have 70 players having this title at one given time. With this merger, assuming that Japan has just as much players as we do, if not more, and Twin Sword being one of the most DPS heavy classes in the entire game, chances are we're going to have more than 70 concurrent players that want this title, and it would really suck if players are just not able to get it going forward. I encourage everyone upon the merger to try and go get your title as quickly as possible. Leave it at that and hope for the best. But I would really like to avoid this problem if they could just do away with the limit of how many players can have a certain title. It might have been really cool or impressive back in the day when they first came out, but nowadays with so many players at an endgame mentality, this is it's a necessity in a sense. Like, they need this to be where they are in the meta and do what they can do. And this goes for all titles, not just this one. There's Taira no Masakado, Kato Kiyomasa. Like, there's some titles that are just better than others. There's not much competition. And I would think going forward, we need more as many players having fun and just doing the best they can, doing the best they can with everything without limitations. We don't need more reasons for people to quit. A bonus number in accordance with that is involving ornamentations. So ornamentations are good, but not all ornamentations are used, and the ones that are heavily used or the most staple ones are things like Fated Contractor, Avenger on monsters. So Fated Contractor is widely used because it is a safe ornamentation. As long as you see the number critical in some form of HP percent or SP percent, you're golden. That's fine. You have a mag that's going to be good. Yes, in the current day and age, we can re-roll mags using items from the Nyankoropon or from the shopping plaza and events. That's great. That's fantastic. Something I wanted for years, and I'm glad they put it in the game. However, the point I'm bringing up is there should be equivalence to Fated Contractor for every playstyle. Fated Contractor gives you slice, critical, HP percent, and SP percent. Now, even like spear players, bow players, they'll use it because they want that critical advantage. It's probably the best way to get critical on the most amount of mags. What I would like to see is equivalence to Fated Contractor. So like call it Piercing Contractor or Impactful Contractor. Basically the exact same thing. However, instead of it giving dexterity, it could give vitality and pierce, or it could give, the other one could give wisdom and impact. Something like that. Just to give players that don't actually use slice on their builds an option to build pierce, to build impact, to do something different. We saw this with Crosswise, Mushu Fushu, Jabberwock, and Maze. They all give one of the three elements of physical elements. Then they give, one gives fire, one gives holy, one gives ice. They give alternatives. If it was just Crosswise, it wouldn't even be considered. But because there's options for all the elements, it is actually widely used, and it was a healthy thing to be implemented. I'd like to see that for more ornamentations going forward. Number 3, Bazaars and item stacking. So as we know, Bazaars were an awesome implementation to the game. We did not have Bazaars for years because Sony didn't want us to have them. We did get them. It created a huge booming economy. People were able to sell things and trade things, get OC, really just invest themselves in the game, and we had a really fun economy, and we still do. Now, one of the things that we got was we had an event. It was like the Golden Bazaar event. I think it was around Christmas time one year. And basically what it allowed a player to do was you were able to stack items. So friendship goldfish. I want to sell some friendship goldfish. I want to sell 2 of them. It forces the minimum price. The minimum price of a friendship item is whatever it is. So 169, 420, whatever it is. That's its minimum price. How the game works now is if I want to sell 2 friendship items basically, I have to sell it for 2. I cannot sell it for any lower. However, I am allowed to sell it for like this much OC, and it's fine, but it's not what I want. I want to be able to sell 99 of these for like 1 OC just to give them to a new player who could use them because I don't need them anymore. We had this for a while. There was, as long as the minimum price was met, you could set the maximum amount of items to any count you could have. And we had this for a long, long time. It was very beneficial. People could, play events, get a bunch of items, sell them. It really, really helped the economy. And realistically, like, it let players determine the price of things. Like, if someone couldn't farm a warding or a dungeon, they weren't powerful enough, another player who had excess drops of that item could say, hey, oh yeah, I got tons of Teas of Eternal Night. You need that for a Tempest. Sure, I'll sell them to you for like 150 and you can take 10 of them. Sure, I don't care. I'll make a profit, you make a profit, fantastic, everybody's happy. And since Bazaarable stuff takes like paid OC, people put money in to buy items. It's a proven fact. Like, it generates revenue. By people not being able to just sell things or make things more convenient for others, Cyberstep loses an avenue of revenue, which is not good for the longevity of the game. I think we should get item stacking back. Absolutely. Like, what's the worst going to happen? People are going to play more, farm more, do more. Like, it's not, there's still things in the game that are not sellable. You can't just give someone like some of the best gear in the game or weapons or whatever. That's on Cyberstep. I don't think recipes should ever be locked, but I think item stacking should be fixed, realistically. On that note, I think Cyberstep should implement a Platinum Bazaar ticket. Long ago, we had to buy a Gold Bazaar ticket. As you see here, we all have a Gold Bazaar ticket. There's an event in progress. Everybody has this. But long ago, everyone had like a Silver Bazaar, which could only sell certain things, and then the Gold Bazaar could sell Magatama's items better at things. I think they should implement a Platinum Bazaar, which would allow players to, buy and trade and sell excess key items like Vanguard scrolls and Mount scrolls, things that they have excess of. Like, for example, Sarutobi Sasuke is a character that goes to 150. Realistically, you need 10 scrolls for the Vanguard to do that. In my current possession, not really ever rolling for Sasuke, I have 14 Sasuke scrolls just from tickets or whatever have you. I have no use for these. I'm not going to turn them into points. That's a bad investment. But I would love to sell them to someone who just needs a couple scrolls or who would like to have the Vanguard. Again, make these 100% purchasable OC, not bazaarable OC. That way Cyberstep gets a really good revenue. The pricing point would come down to what they think is best. Personally, I think 300 OC per Vanguard as a minimum should be fine. And then if a Vanguard is more coveted or what have you, namely like KG or Toshi or just really high tier Vanguards, it's up to the person to come up with the proper pricing that they would want to sell it for, be it 500, 400, 1,000, whatever. If someone thinks it's worth it, they'll buy it. It's on them. No idiot has a credit card that just logs into the game and is like, yeah, here, take all my money. Like, it's not going to happen. There are risks, but I don't see them as that big. We're all adults at this point. The game's been out for 6 years. Everyone that was 12 when we started is 18 now. Let's go. All right. Because everyone's barracks is just full of that stuff. Bonus point, basically. So 3.5. I think Chifuri should be in every single town. Not just Onigashima. I'm locked in my menu. That was annoying. So right now, when it comes to doing wardings, Purgatorium, some events, everything that has to do with wardings goes through Chifuri. Everyone has to go to Onigashima to access this list to do all the dungeons that most players will do, which is nice for creating a hub world, but at this point in the game, it just causes too much lag. A lot of players will try to do wardings on channel 2 just to come out on channel 1. It's laggy, they're on a boost, they're trying to be time effective, they're trying to reduce disconnections, they're trying to reduce crashes. People do what they can. I think personally, if Chifuri was just accessible in every other major town in the game, she just existed, there's a portal behind her, players could, diversify, leave a lot less pressure on Onigashima, which is laggy as it possibly is right now with all the bazaars and players, what have you, mounts, everything running around. I think just Chifuri should just be accessible from every other town in the game so that a party of players can go to, hey, let's go to Kumaso and just do some wardings, lag-free, have a good time. It's a very minor point, just put multiple NPCs everywhere. It'd be great. Because I'm pretty sure Chifuri is just a figment of our imagination anyway. Point number 2. So this is touching on the whole having excess Vanguard scrolls kind of thing. So I think all Vanguards should have an awakening by now. All Vanguards should go to 150. Realistically speaking, and for a lot of players that have been veterans for years, they have excess scrolls of certain characters they've maxed out because they can't do anything with them. Miyamoto Musashi, I do not roll for Miyamoto Musashi. She just comes from legendaries or tickets or whatever. And this could be the same case for anybody. I have 11 extra scrolls. Now, Miyamoto already goes to 150, so that's fine. Am I asking for a level 200 awakening? Yes, I am. But realistically, I think all characters should get awakenings, buffs, whatever have you. The characters Siegfried, Venus, and most notably Valkyrie, all received buffs like 1 or 2 years ago, and it made those characters go from like average to like really, really friggin' good immediately quick. Now that was really nice because it didn't involve awakenings of of level 150. However, I think level 150 should be implemented, and all characters should get buffs. They should get rank 8, 9 skills. Just break everybody. Make every Vanguard good. If every Vanguard is good, more people will roll. If we see a lineup that's Siegfried, Gawain, Lunastasia, and then like Toshi, like you're running a lineup of like you have a 25% chance that the platinum you get is actually any damn good. But if every Vanguard were to receive these awakenings, well, we wouldn't mind getting extra scrolls because everything would be useful. It would be like being a new player again because people would need these scrolls realistically unless they already had them, and God knows the whales do. They just want to be able to use them. Like, you know, I think it'd be a great idea. Buff all the Vanguards, give people more reasons to roll for them. Just not be afraid, because me as a player, I will not spin on things that are disadvantaging to me. If the odds are really bad, like I'm not going to go after things if it's like 5-to-1 odds to get something that's good. It's just not good for the consumer. But if 150 was implemented like it did wonders for Miyamoto, made her amazing. 150 Lancelot, she was the last one we got. We've only gotten 3 of these so far. Like there's no reason we can't have like 150 Kirin, 150 Ho-Oh, 150 everybody. Make like, especially Dark Miyamoto, who's fallen behind after so long. My number 3, 150 every Vanguard, add awakenings, do whatever. Just make it so that when we roll, we don't feel like we're getting gypped when we're getting a platinum. Like no one wants to get a platinum just to be upset, and it doesn't have any ulterior value. Now, if we do have Platinum Bazaars, then there would be an ulterior menu or option, but I think both would be good. It would incentivize people to roll. If they get something they don't need, they could sell it away. Someone else, just money passing around, Cybercept getting tons of revenue flowing through, which is good for them, good for us. Number 1, we are at number 1. My number 1 most desired change for Onigiri going forward. And this one, I've put a lot of thought into it in the shower this morning. I won't lie, you do a lot of thinking there. I want to call it the Lands of Eternal Night Exchange Shop. So as we know, the Wardings is a gateway to the Lands of Eternal Night, or Everlasting Night, whatever you want to call it. It's where Wardings are. We need energy to go there. We fight powerful bosses. They drop really good drops, rare drops, energy-based drops. What I'd like to see is have a new NPC come into the game that allows us to trade Oni medals or some form of metric of medals that are not purgatory treasures, because that is just not healthy. Basically, I want an NPC that allows us to trade, let's just say Oni medals, for warding drops, and it resets, the exchange shop resets every month. It's different. Oh, it's like, hey, we got a bonus. You can get Teas of Eternal Night or whatever have you. That's a kind of a minor point to it. What I really want it to have is items from events past. Oh, you didn't get the other side weapons when they came 2 years ago, when they've never been rerun since then? And the weapons, like, it's still a good weapon. Not the best dark weapon by any means, but hey, you want to get that thing you never got? Go farm some Oni dungeons or do whatever. Trade it into this NPC when they have it and get stuff. Like, other sides could be in there. Knowledge mags, Katerions, Frozen Hells, things that we won't see reruns for. Kota Noha weapons, Kota Noha mags, silhouette weapons. There's tons of things. The incense, the divine incense to make supreme weapons, bring that back. Like, bringing in all these options, these incentives, would... You know, this exchange shop, this great magical exchange shop, fill it with things of events past. People come back, they're like, oh my god, I need to do that. Sure, I'll run a whole bunch of Oni mode dungeons, get a whole bunch of medals, and, you know, get things. They might even just put really coveted things in there for paid OC. Like, oh, you want the Kotsunora recipes? They're like 50 paid OC each. Cyberstep makes $10, a player's happy, then they go farm their life away in Sleet, they make more money. and people get what they want. Like, I think that would be really, really healthy. Now, how to facilitate this, like lore-wise, whenever a big exchange shop comes, there's a new NPC that comes with it. Be it this guy here, Rikado, or Nairi, the other exchange guy. As this has to do with events and wardings and what have you, I think we need a character that's involved around time travel. So a character that can go back in time and grab things that we used to have. Now, what I think is, as we know right now, we have the assist characters that come forth that are representations of characters. So Gargoyle, Sleet, Levin, Satan, Lucifer, Ahriman, what have you. I think they should bring in the Abyss Gargoyle character who has an exchange shop that deals with the lands of Eternal Night. It's where they're from, and as we know, when you fight Abyss, Abyss has time-altering powers. They can stop you in time like nobody's business in Purgatorium. And we've seen a lot of this with characters from Nether, like Reapers. They can stop time, slow you down. Dark skills like Restriction, Intimidate, also lower time and deal with time. So I think if we had a character, let's say the Abyss Gargoyle, or anyone at all, it's at Cyberstep's creative decision to make, but a time-based character that could bring things forward or back in time to us would be awesome. Personally, if they were to make it a Vanguard instead of a support character, I think it could be a really, really fun idea to have a time-based character, because we never got access to those things, yet enemies could do it to us beyond a reasonable, within reason. So what I think this character could do would be like, you'd play as like the Abyss. If it was a Vanguard, you'd have Abyss Vanguard, whatever. Her name would just be Abyss. And they would have abilities that affect cooldown, movement speed, and what have you. So it would be like a sort of a support Vanguard, but damaging Vanguard at the same time. So basically, they would just have a bunch of attacks that would have the restriction effect to slow down enemies, have the stop effect to stop enemies, and have things that reduce cooldown time for you and the whole party, and even a skill that would increase or reset the timer on Vanguard. So like they have a skill that could give extra time on the Vanguard gauge for everyone in range, up to making them last up to like 5 minutes instead of 3, whatever have you. Just something that's super good that could compete with KG in usability, because KG can last for God knows how long if you switch between Vanguard and Mount and you just keep going. I think this character could be really fun if they had a mechanic where if they perfect block an attack, the enemy, if applicable, is stunned. If the stopped. If the character can't be stopped, then they would get their movement speed reduced. If the character can't get their movement speed reduced, then they would get like intimidated. If they can't get intimidated, then it would increase the character's attack speed. Like it would go through all these checks depending on what character you perfect block, and it would let you play around it, sort of like a witch time mechanic or whatever have you. I just think the whole time magic idea is really fun. I just played an RPG and I had a time mage. It was really, really cool to be able to heal people by bringing things back in time or affect cooldown times of your allies, affecting Vanguard uptime, what have you. Anyway, that's just lore to go with this idea of, hey, if there was a character that would have an exchange shop from events past that would let players farm and do whatever to get things they missed out on, that'd be great. Because a lot of players that already have stuff that already has come out, like a lot of players that already have other sides don't need more other sides, but the players that don't could use them. And this goes for everything, especially Kotanoa gear, because it's just so good. If there was a way to bring that back, like a timely exchange shop, character that travels through time, brings things forward and back, that'd be awesome. That would be my number one thing to look forward to. Just something to make everybody happy at every stage of the game. So these are my top 5 changes I'd like to see implemented going forward. I think they would all be very healthy for the metagame. A lot of things that I've discussed with players that we'd want, things we'd look forward to. That's what I got. Tell me what you guys think the game should have. What do you think of this list? Do you want to see more content like this in the future? And yeah, like tomorrow's the day. The server merger is going to happen, and it's going to be a wild time. So thanks for watching. See you guys later, and have a great day.